Hello, my name is Mr. Rickman, and welcome to another tutorial video. Today's tutorial is over a program called Gimkit. This is a game show style review game similar to Kahoot or Quizlet, but with more of a focus on the gaming aspect of things. Today's tutorial will walk you through the basics of creating an account, creating both kits and classes, and running you through the basic steps of playing a live game. Let's get started. So once you are in your preferred browser of choice, for example, I'm using Google Chrome, you'll just type in gimkit.com. That's Gimkit.com, and you'll be brought to this screen here. This is their home screen. And from here, it's rather simple. If you need to create an account, just go ahead and click Sign Up. And from here, you have two options. If your district uses Google for your email addresses, then you can just go ahead and click Continue with Google. Or if it uses a different one, you'll just need to type in the email address here. And so then once you've gotten in your email address and continue, you'll just click Continue. Now, once you have selected the email you wish to use, you will be asked to select your account type. If you're an educator, obviously you're going to click the green button here. And if you're a student, you will select the sort of orangey brown button right here. Since this tutorial is for educators, we're going to go ahead and continue as an educator. So from here, you'll be asked to select your country, right? United States of America starts off right at the very top. You'll be asked to put in the zip code of your school, and so you'll need to put in some school information from there. Once you have selected your school, you will then select your area of expertise. Basically, which subject area do you teach? So for example here, I'm going to select English Language Learner, and then you'll select grade level. And it's not super specific as far as the grade levels. You can just select, like high school or middle school or elementary. And you can even have some other options that are not your standard K through 12. I'm going to go ahead and select high school here and click Continue. Once you have created an account, you will be brought to this screen, which will serve as your home screen anytime you log into your account on Gimkit. This is where you will be able to see any content you've created, any kits, your classes, assignments, anything along those lines. Now, since this is a fresh account, there isn't anything here, right? It tells us we have some options. And so what we want to do is we want to go ahead and create a kit ourselves. Now we have two options for what we can do. We can either create a new kit from scratch, where we input our own questions and answers and everything like that, or we can do search. And especially if you're just starting off and maybe you don't have any questions pre-planned, but you know the content area you want to teach, then you can just do a search for it here. So for example, I'm going to do a search for grammar. I'm going to press enter. And now what this is going to show me is any kit that's been created that uses the word grammar in its title. And it will show me how many questions that kit has. It'll show me about when that kit was created. And then I can come here and actually preview the questions that are in it. And so with this, let's say I really like one of these. I'm going to go ahead and click this one that has the Scrabble letters. So when I click on it, it shows me exactly what the questions are in this kit. Now you can tell, obviously, this one says grammar, and we have some questions here that aren't quite related to grammar per se. And so what I can do, right, if I liked this kit right from the get-go, I could just go ahead and click play and use it right from there, right? If you can click export, and it will export the questions and answers, but it'll only copy this as simple text. You can't copy it, like, say, as a Quizlet or something along those lines. You can share it. So let's say, oh, I'm not the one using this. It's going to be going to my colleague. I can click copy and send them. I can email them that link. Or if I want to go ahead, I could make a copy of this link myself. So now, as you can see, the kit has shown up in my home screen. So if I go ahead, I have some options. I could assign it as homework. I can click play live, or I can even just simply click on it. And from there, I can see these questions, right? And it looks very similar to the screen we had before, but now it says by Cassie Farron, and that's my fake account name. And I also have this edit option. So I can come in and I can edit these questions to fit what I need. So for example, I don't like this question. It has math in it. So I can go ahead and I can click delete. And now that question is no longer available. Now what I can also do is I can click add question. So let's say I want to create my own question. So I'm going to say, what is 1 plus 1? Which I know sounds silly since I just deleted a math question, but we're going to go ahead and use that. Now I can add a photo to help my students with a visual aid. I can even add audio. So if you record yourself, you can even add that recording in, reading aloud the question and answer choices. So I'm going to put in here the correct answer. And then you can put in some wrong answers too. And it requires at least 4 wrong answers here. But if you want, you could even change these just by clicking these icons to say whether or not they are the correct answer, right? Now, Gimkit will always randomize this, so you don't have to worry about, the students are going to know that the first answer is always the correct one. Whenever they're playing the game, it will automatically randomize things. So I'm going to go ahead and click add, and now my question is right there. Now I also have a few other options, right? I can create with flashcards, which means I might make it so it's kind of a simple, if it's a really quick review game, you can make it that way. You could also do Kit Collab, which means that if you want to collaborate with your students and have these students create questions as well, you can enable that. Or you can even add from a question bank, which is very similar to what we did before, right? I just searched grammar. So let's say instead of grammar, I'm going to type in prepositions. And I'm going to search. And so now any kit with the title prepositions will show up. And so then from here, I can either add all of the questions from that kit, right? And they will all get added here, right? Now we can see all those questions got added. Or I can go in, and it selected grammar again, and I can just maybe say, oh, I don't like this question, but I like this one. And if I click this button, we can see right here, that one shows up right there, but the other questions didn't. And so if you only like maybe a few specific questions that are there, you can add them in. And once you're all finished editing this, then you can go ahead and click all done. As you can see, once you've created your first kit, it will show up on your home screen. And so now anytime you create a kit or anytime you log on, this will be the first thing that you can see on your screen. Any future kits you create will appear above the previous one. So older kits will slowly go down and down. So if you end up with a lot of kits, you may have to scroll to see them. Now, once you have this kit, you have some other options of what you can do as well. For example, you can go to your school library, and that is where you can see kits that were created by other educators who selected the same school you did when you created your educator account. You can also go to assignments. However, I'm actually not going to talk about this too much right now, as they have said that they are going to be completely revamping assignments. So that will be a topic for a future video. If you click news, you can find any kind of updates they tell you about. So for example, where they say assignments are being removed and making way for a brand new version. And the last thing is classes. Classes are a way to keep your games safe and secure. In this way, students have to log in using either their school email or via their school Gmail if they have that. They're forced to use their real names based off of their email account. And so it helps to prevent random people from joining your games as they're going on. And so if you want to create a class, you just click New Class. You're asked to come up with a name. So for example, I'm just going to say first period. You come up with a color, and then you create class. And once you got that, you are given a link here that you can send out to your students. You can click copy link, it'll copy it to your clipboard, and you can send that to students via Google Classroom, via email, via Remind, however you send your information out to your students. You can give them that link, and then whenever they click on that link, it will cause them to join the class. Now, if you have auto accept turned on, they will just automatically join your class. No questions there, right? And they'll just automatically appear in your members tab. However, if you turn this off, as it says there, you'll need to click on your Invites tab and accept them. So if you're in a situation where you really need to moderate which students are joining which classes, you can have that setting set up so then that way you can accept the students who are actually part of your class in that way. But once you have some students in there, you're all set. You're good to go. Once you've got your classes and your kits set up and ready to go, and you are ready to begin a live game with your students, all you need to do is go to the kit you wish to use and then click Play Live. And this will give you quite a few options. So Gimkit has different game modes that are available to you. And I'm not going to necessarily explain each and every one. A lot of them tend to explain themselves. But one thing to note is that if you are using the basic Gimkit account, meaning the free account, there are certain game modes that will be unavailable to you because of your account status. If you choose to pay for Gimkit Pro, which as of this recording is about $60 a year, then you will have access to every single game mode that they've created, right? All the ones over here, any single one, right? And so most of the time, you might just want to go with the basic classic mode, in which students answer questions and will use their points to purchase upgrades that help them to earn more points, right? So I'll select this game mode and I'm going to click Continue. And then from here, I have a number of options for this game mode. So for example, I can change what type of game it is. So if I'm going to set it up, okay, I want to have it where they are going for 30 minutes here, right? Then I can have it where it's just a time-based game where the game will end after 30 minutes, no matter of any student outcomes. You can have it set to be a race where whenever a player reaches this goal, the game will end, and whoever reaches that goal first is the winner. And you can also have it be a collaborative game type, where the goal is for all of the students to earn as many points as possible, so that once the entire class or the entire group reaches a certain monetary amount, the game will end. You can select a specific class. So for example, I could select first period, and only the students who are in that first period class would be able to join the game. For now, I'm going to go ahead and select no class. If you want to start them off with an amount of points, you can do that. Like if I set up 100 points, they'll start with, right? And you can set it up where you allow students to view the correct answer after they have answered a question incorrectly. I don't necessarily know a circumstance where you may not have that available, but if you don't want them to be able to see the correct answer, then you can leave that option off. There is music that will be playing with each game mode. If you decide you don't want the music to be playing, you can change that even mid-game. So that's not something, even though you can select it here, that doesn't put it, it's not set in concrete, you can change it later. Clapping is a kind of just silly thing that happens at the end. Students can click a clap button to celebrate the victors. Especially if you're doing the competitive game mode, you could set to have only clean power-ups, meaning that students can't purchase power-ups that would attack each other, like take away points or freeze their screen. And then if you just have a group where you just want things to be very fun, very chill, you can set that up. Even if you have it set up to a class, if you feel like you want to really make sure students cannot create any inappropriate names, you can set up a nickname generator, and this is just automatically generated nicknames that are clean and fun, that then you don't have to worry about any sort of inappropriate behavior going on with that. And then this last option is to allow students to join in late after the game starts. I personally would really recommend you leave this option on at all times, just because especially with technology, whether students are using their phones or a laptop device like a Chromebook, things happen and students might accidentally get booted from the game, and so it is generally recommended that you keep this option on, but if you want to turn it off, that is available to you. But in any case, once you have everything set up the way you want it, you can go ahead and click Continue. And you'll be brought to a sort of loading screen where you'll tell the students to go to this URL, gimkit.com/join, and they'll need to enter a code so that they can begin the game. And obviously, like you can see here, I can't start the game when there are no students, right? So if I go ahead and have a fake student that I have made for the purposes of this, I'm going to go ahead and just enter this game mode. And so that student has clicked join, and now you can see, hey, this student has entered. And if, say, maybe this isn't a student you wanted to be in the game, maybe it's someone from a different class, or if they've created a name that is inappropriate and you do not want that, you can always just click on their name and that will remove them from the waiting screen. So they'll get kicked out and they will be unable to play unless they attempt to enter again. Once you have all of the players in that you want to be in, you just go ahead and click Start Game, and the game will begin. Now, note it'll list all of the students who are in the game right here, and it will also list the total number of points that are in the game. And you'll see this bar will change as students answer questions. So let's say, for example, I go ahead and answer this question here. And notice, oh, it's moved up slightly, right? And so it's moved up to 101, and now the bar has shifted to show that increase in points. You'll see that there is a timer at the top telling both you and your students when this game will end. And you can also click this game code here so that if a student does get kicked out, but you are allowing them to enter in late, it will enlarge it so that if you have it projecting on your screen and it's available for all the students to see, then they can rejoin the game. If you want to end the game early, then you can just click End Game, and now the game is over. And it will show, the students that made it first, second, and third, right? And this is where students can click to clap if they so choose. One thing that is very useful for you as the educator is if you click View Report, it will show you, one, how each student performed. So it will tell you the number of questions they answered correctly, the number they answered incorrectly, and a general accuracy percentage. You can see a general overview as far as the number of questions total answered correctly by all students, as well as incorrect, and the total accuracy. And you can also see a question breakdown. So if the students answered more than one question, you can see every single question that was answered, and you'll see the total number of correct answers and the total number of incorrect answers. So especially if you're using this to generate data on how well students have mastered different topics, this can be very useful for you to see exactly which students have been successful, which ones have not, which question they need to go over again. And you can even on here, it'll give you each individual student name, it'll show you the questions they answered and kind of give you all of that data again. I hope that this tutorial has been helpful to you. Thank you very much for your time, and have a wonderful day.